Once they bond with Tommy and they are Tommy, so many people say, I want to be the next Tommy Morrison, right?
Yes.
Well, this is their opportunity. They can be.
Tell me about Tommy Morrison.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I really appreciate you doing this, Coach, for Tommy, and not just for me, but all his faithful fans and faithful friends out there. It's almost like he's back, right? He's back on the scene. Um, Really, there are four Tommies, right? There's the Tommy Morrison that the media have got out there, right? And some of the gamers probably don't know all the different four Tommies, but there's one version of Tommy that's out there by the media, and where they lift him up, they break him down, and then they have the so-called HIV stigma that overshadows his legacy. So that's one Tommy Morrison, right? Then you've got the real Tommy Morrison, the Tommy Morrison I knew, the Tommy Morrison that people didn't know, the one that his faithful fans and faithful friends are getting to know over the past 10 years since Tommy passed away. And that's the Tommy where we saw him rise up, we saw him get broken, and we're seeing him lift up again. And the faithful fans are out there now telling the story, the real story for Tommy, which is something that he always wanted out there, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? He wanted it all out there. And as part of the real Tommy, some of you may know or may not know that I went through a 10-year lawsuit to find out what happened on the day that Tommy got kicked out. Who is responsible? Who is going to take ownership of having done that HIV diagnosis on Tommy that kicked him out of the sport of boxing, really at the age of 26, just turned 27, which is really very young. And after 10 years and solidified in court records, nobody takes the ownership now for having given him that HIV diagnosis in Las Vegas. And apart from that, when Tommy did die, they did a post-mortem on him, which means that that is his final diagnosis. And the post-mortem also confirmed no HIV and no AIDS. So that's the real Tommy Morrison. And that story now is getting out there. So then you've got the third Tommy, which is Tommy Gunn, right? And a lot of people will see Tommy Gunn every Christmas. It's one of those Rocky V sequels that comes out every Christmas, and it's seen worldwide. And you've got the real boxer who Tommy Morrison was. Tommy Morrison portrayed himself as Tommy Gunn, and Tommy himself said that he really wasn't acting. He was just acting himself. And he obviously was a professional boxer. And there'll be people, Coach, that will just dislike Rocky V, just put it out of the picture. And then there'll be the faithful ones that will keep watching Rocky V again and again and again. And it's like a wine, a fine wine. It starts to get better, right? Every time you look at it. And when you look at Rocky V, It really was ahead of its time. It came out in 1990. Tommy was just 19, 20 years old. That's all he was when he was Tommy Gunn. And he would say, you know, he had to act next to his idol, which was Sly. He was always in the Sly fan club, and here he is now acting right next to him, the co-star of Rocky Five. So looking back at Rocky Five, you'll see actually it was ahead of its time, where the boxer doesn't get on with the manager. Well, that happens today, right? The boxer ends up with this kind of, as we say in England, dodgy promoter, which would be like a Don King Duke version, right? And don't tell me that doesn't happen today. And then you've got the huge street fight, which everybody has watched, and it's probably one of the biggest attractions when you go to Philadelphia to see where the street fight took place, right? And yet everybody says, oh no, Rocky Five wasn't that great. Well, actually, it really is that great, and you should watch it again. So that's the Tommy Gunn. And then you've got the fourth version of Tommy, which is now the Undisputed Tommy, right? Where it's the young Tommy. It's the young, energetic, entertaining Tommy with one of the most powerful left hooks in the business, and right, you know, and uppercut and whatever else you want to throw in there. And all he has to do, he doesn't have to worry about the politics of the business of boxing. All he has to do now is be bonded together with I don't know if you could, do you call them gamers? You know, people that play the video games. He just has to be bonded with somebody that cares about him, gets him into the ring, chooses an opponent, and gets Tommy to knock the opponent out. That is the Undisputed version of Tommy, where he's taking care of business in the ring. So he's an amazing character, real life character, that even though he passed away 10 years ago in 2013, everybody is looking now at the Undisputed version of him and saying he's back. You know, he's actually back. Now we can go ahead and get him to fight, you know, Anthony Joshua or whoever it is, right? And it's going to be a lot of fun seeing what Tommy has to take care of in the ring, you know. So you have to support somebody whose dreams were to be a fighter.
Yeah, it sounded like it was his life. Fighting was his life. We've got to hear about aspects of his life that I don't think anybody really knows about Tommy. Tommy Gunn, the actor, the Duke, the fighter. What areas of Tommy's life, whether it be in his career or outside, feel really will cement his legacy? Just him as a person.
I think the fact that he never gave up, right? You know, I think that a lot of people that probably can relate to what happened to Tommy, that are maybe even going to be part of Undisputed Game or even watch, you know, Tommy's fights, they can relate that, you know, he made a difference to boxing because he never gave up. And he was always very good with the boxers after the fact, after even being kicked out. When he went to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, he just loved being out there, even in the rain, together with his fans, because his fans were his family, right? And I think people will resonate with that. He's not just a name, he is a human being.
Trisha, thank you for taking the time. Come on, talk. I know I've said it already, but I feel like in that looking at people from a deeper side is really what's important. A lot of times what you see on TV is not the whole answer. Fortunately, media doesn't get the opportunity to speak to the right people who have what it is that you actually see. And I think you've done a beautiful job of painting a perfect masterpiece of who Tommy Morrison was. So thank you for